As soon as he bends down to look below, the toy soldiers suddenly open fire on him from every direction. Rensha quickly presses himself against the wall to avoid getting hit, but several tiny bullets still pierce into his throat. Terrified, he carefully tries to peek outside again, but the soldiers launch another attack. This time, a missile crashes directly into his leg, badly injuring him with a powerful explosion. Amid the non-stop gunfire, Rensha somehow manages to escape into a bathroom and slams the door shut behind him. The missile blast and bullets had already torn through parts of his body. Outside, the soldiers continued firing without mercy. When Rensha looks through the bathroom mirror, he sees the entire room being destroyed by bullets. The soldiers even shoot out all the lights, hoping the darkness would make it easier to kill him. Watching this sends chills down his spine. A few moments later, another missile smashes through the glass. Sharp shards fly straight into his face, and now Rensha finally snaps in anger. He immediately pulls out his gun and storms outside while firing back at them. But his bullets barely affect the toy soldiers at all. Furious, he grabs a machine gun and completely shreds the couch where the soldiers were hiding. After the enemy suddenly stops shooting, Rensha assumes they must all be dead. Carefully, he flips the couch over and discovers several toy soldiers destroyed beneath it, while a few survivors desperately try escaping in their tiny vehicle. Seeing living toys move around shocks him beyond belief. One soldier is about to shoot him, but Rensha crushes it under his foot before it can fire. Another tries to run away, but he crushes that one too. Soon, more toy soldiers begin throwing bombs at him from every side. However, blinded by rage, Rensha tears through them one by one. But the real danger was far from over. Suddenly, 3 miniature fighter helicopters emerge from beneath a table and begin flying toward him. The moment they get close, they unleash a barrage of missiles. One helicopter slices past his face at terrifying speed. Each helicopter carries pilots and a machine gunner, all relentlessly attacking him. To save himself, Rensha rushes back into the bathroom once again. The assault is so intense that his body becomes even more damaged. He plans to escape to his room, but suddenly an explosion blasts a hole straight through the bathroom door, allowing one helicopter to fly inside. Thinking quickly, Rensha grabs a towel, traps the helicopter inside it, and smashes it repeatedly against the floor until it is destroyed. Seconds later, another helicopter flies into the bathroom. Rensha fires at it immediately, but the clever soldiers manage to escape before he can bring it down. At that moment, he notices movement inside the towel. The soldiers trapped there were somehow still alive and struggling to get out. Determined to finish them forever, Rensha throws the entire towel into the toilet and flushes it away. Then he blocks the hole in the door to stop any helicopters from entering again. But moments later, strange noises begin coming from inside the toilet once more. Hearing that makes Rensha even angrier. He grabs a nearby hairdryer and tosses it straight into the toilet. Instantly, a massive explosion erupts, destroying everything inside. Now Rensha finally believes the toy soldiers cannot possibly survive anymore. Because of the danger outside, he decides to spend the night inside the bathroom, knowing the soldiers would kill him the moment he stepped out. As he sits there quietly, a small piece of paper suddenly slides under the door. Reluctantly, he picks it up and reads the single word written on it: surrender. At that moment, Rensha realizes the battle is far from over. But deep inside, he smirks confidently, because to him, they were still just toys, while he himself was a ruthless killer. Rensha had finally realized that these toy soldiers were never going to stop hunting him. Furious, he grabbed a pen and wrote on the note, "Go to hell." Then he slid the paper back outside. For several moments, everything went completely silent. Rensha thought maybe the nightmare was finally over. Slowly, he removed the towel and peeked outside, but the sight instantly froze him in fear. The toy soldiers were already standing there with massive cannons aimed directly at him. Suddenly, a loud explosion shook the room as a bomb was fired straight toward him. Seconds later, more explosions followed, causing the entire area to tremble violently. To save himself, Rensha quickly climbed out through the window and carefully moved along the edge of the building toward the other side. The height below was terrifying. One wrong step and he would fall straight to his death. But he had no other way to escape. What he didn't know was that the toy soldiers had also prepared an aerial attack. He had barely moved a short distance when a helicopter suddenly appeared behind him and opened heavy fire. The gunner inside continuously sprayed bullets at him. Seizing the opportunity, Rensha turned around and fired back, destroying the helicopter in midair and sending it crashing to the ground below. For the first time in a while, he felt a small sense of relief. After struggling for a long time, he finally made it back to his room. Hiding carefully, he noticed that several toy soldiers were still alive and secretly planning another attack against him. At that moment, Rensha understood that this war would only end when one side was completely destroyed. While thinking desperately, his eyes landed on a fire extinguisher and a nearby toy duck. Instantly, an idea formed in his mind. He quietly placed the duck into the water and then hid somewhere else while making loud noises. Hearing the sound, the toy soldiers assumed someone was hiding there and rushed toward the distraction. Taking advantage of the moment, Rensha grabbed the fire extinguisher and sprayed thick foam directly at the soldiers. The white cloud completely blinded them. But before he could relax, another armed toy vehicle arrived from behind and opened fire on him with a mounted machine gun. Thinking quickly, Rensha lit the extinguisher with a lighter and threw it directly at the vehicle. A massive explosion erupted instantly, turning the entire toy vehicle into a burning fireball. At the same time, 3 more toy soldiers attacked him, but Rensha burned them alive as well. By now, he understood that simply killing these creatures was not enough. So he grabbed a knife and brutally chopped them into tiny pieces. But the most horrifying moment came when he saw the pieces still moving even after being cut apart. The sight nearly drove him insane. As the gas slowly cleared, the remaining soldiers prepared for another attack. This time, however, Rensha wasted no time and crushed them beneath his feet. Consumed by rage, he twisted and destroyed every remaining piece of the soldiers to make sure they could never come back to life again. Then he threw all the broken parts into the kitchen oven and turned the heat to maximum. Believing the nightmare was finally over, Rensha decided to calm himself by taking a cold shower. But while bathing, something sharp suddenly slashed across his hand underwater. Terrified, he immediately jumped out and discovered a deep cut on his hand, as if someone had attacked him with a blade. Quickly wrapping cloth around the wound to stop the bleeding, Rensha realized that at least one toy soldier was still hiding somewhere inside the house. For the first time, real fear appeared on his face. He immediately decided that he had to escape the building before it was too late. The moment he stepped into the elevator, he noticed something strange about the control panel. Seconds later, the panel exploded, and the entire elevator was swallowed by darkness. A few moments later, the elevator suddenly stopped, and the commander of the toy soldiers jumped inside without warning. The commander immediately slashed Rensha's leg with a sharp knife. A faint light flickered from the damaged control panel, allowing Rensha to finally see the commander clearly for the first time. Unlike the others, this commander looked far more powerful, dangerous, and terrifying. But the commander was extremely clever. Right after attacking, he quickly escaped from the elevator. Afraid that the commander might return with even more soldiers, Rensha rushed out of the elevator as well. However, the moment he stepped outside, the commander was already waiting for him with a shining knife in his hand, and just then, another elevator slowly began descending from above. Suddenly, he spots another elevator dropping down from above. Without wasting even a second, Rensha crawls fast and jumps onto it. He crashes straight into the lower lift as it opens up beneath him. Thinking this is his chance to escape, Rensha quickly reaches for the elevator button. But before he can do anything, the toy commander is already right behind him. The commander jumps on top of him, screaming like crazy, and starts stabbing him again and again in the stomach. In pure pain and rage, Rensha flips him off and throws him down hard. At the same time, he notices the elevator doors starting to close. Realizing he might actually get out of this, he suddenly plays dead, lying completely still. The commander, thinking Rensha is finished, walks right up to him to finish the job. That's when Rensha snaps. He grabs him out of nowhere and drags him straight into the middle of the elevator doors. The doors start slamming shut fast. The commander desperately tries to hold them open with his hands, but he's not strong enough. In seconds, the elevator crushes him completely between the doors. Rensha finally gets a brief moment to breathe. But then, he hears something weird coming from the commander's broken body, a ticking sound. He pulls it open and sees a blinking red light inside. It's a bomb. Before he can even react, boom, the whole elevator explodes. Rensha goes down with it. In the end, the toy soldiers finally got their revenge for their creator. Bringing that box of toy soldiers home turned out to be the worst mistake of Rensha's life. If he hadn't killed their maker, he'd probably still be alive. Truth is, just a few days earlier, Rensha had killed the guy who used to build those tiny toy soldiers, and that's what started this whole nightmare. And yeah, that's how the story ends.